Recording. Welcome again. We are here with the 11th grade A. On an afternoon class, I know you guys all tired, so we're gonna go fast and loaded. Gala, psst. Okay, let's do this. So today corresponds, go deeper into the narrative tenses, something that we mentioned in the morning. Something that we checked in the morning, and today we're gonna explain most of how it works, okay? What did I do? Okay, good. Okay, narrative tenses, to understand them, it's really simple to get them. We use them to talk about events, okay, past events. And writers and people who tell stories, they usually use them because they are the preferred tense when we are telling an anecdote or a story or anything in the past. We use 4 narrative tenses. Actually, we can add another one to talk about the past, okay? And in this case, the most common tense that we're going to be using is the past simple. Also, we're going to be using the past continuous, past perfect continuous, and also we're going to be including the use of used to, okay, used to and would. Those tenses, they're going to help us to build the context to narrate a story. Okay, so we're going to be using them to narrate a story. Hey, teacher Natalia, so long, girl. Here you can see the different narrative tenses. So on the left, you have past simple, past continuous, past perfect continuous, used to, and would. And in the middle, you have a bit of an idea how they work. I'm just going to quickly mention. From the example we checked in the morning, we used the past simple to explain completed actions, habits or past states, situations that started and finished, and in the narrative tenses, I would say, is the events in a sequence. Okay, in narrative tenses, when we are writing a story and we have events that come afterwards or come after another, like a sequence, we are using the past simple. And another use is when we are when we are interrupting the past continuous, okay, with something, when that interruption. Example, I was walking home the other day when I saw a huge dog crossing the street. So I saw a huge dog. That's an interruption of the event of continuous. So we have 2 uses for that. We're going to be using the past simple, a sequence event, and also as an interruption for the past simple, for the past continuous, sorry. In the past continuous, we're going to be using it for narrative tenses. This is for context. This is to set the beginning of the story, and I'm here to set the beginning of the story. So we're going to give it like an idea to the reader that we are immersing himself in the story. So as the example says, it was getting dark and I was walking to the pub when something happened. Or last Monday, I was walking home, or the other day I was cooking. Okay, so we use it to set the context of the story. And finally, the past perfect, we'll be using it in contrast to the past simple. Past perfect usually goes with the past simple and they are good friends, but let's imagine that the past perfect is the grandpa and the past simple is the nephew or the niece. The past simple is an earlier event than the past perfect. Past perfect comes to be like an older version of the past simple. It's older than it. So for example, he says, when I met her, I had never been in a serious relationship before. And so in this case, when I met her in the past, when I met this person, before all my relationships had been casual. So I had never been into a serious relationship before. So in that case, it's talking about a life before the main event, that is the met her. So you need to understand that past perfect and past simple, they work closely. Past perfect cannot exist without the past simple because it's a time reference that we need. Okay, and the past perfect continuous that is not here has the same idea. It's a previous event than the past simple, but it focuses a bit more on the durations. For example, When I woke up, it had been raining for 3 hours. So I woke up and I saw the floor, the streets. I saw the streets wet. So my mom told me that it had been raining for 3 hours. So it's the same idea. It's a previous event, but focused more on it was more focused on the duration of the thing. It had been raining for 3 hours, you know? So these are tiny details that we're going to be polishing when we continue with this, okay? So a quickly idea on the narrative tenses. This is a short video by the BBC.
Hi guys, Dan for BBC Learning English here. This time we're going to be talking about narrative tenses, which are story tenses. And we're going to try and do the whole thing in 90 seconds. Are you ready? Here we go. So, can you see this scar? I got this scar when I was about 5 or 6 years old. You see, I used to love jumping on the bed. I say used to because used to is used for a past habit, which is something that we don't do anymore in the present. Although, I still quite like jumping on the bed. Don't tell anybody, okay? So, one day after I had arrived home from school, I went upstairs to jump on the bed. Now I say had arrived because had arrived is the past perfect, and this means that the action is complete before the past simple verb. I could say I went upstairs after I had arrived home. It doesn't make any difference to the meaning. The past perfect always comes first. Now my mum was quite tired because she had been working all day, so she didn't see me go upstairs. Had been working is the past perfect continuous. It's exactly the same as the past perfect, except we use it for longer actions. She had been working all day. Anyway, while I was jumping on the bed, my mum came in and told me to get off. While I was jumping is the past continuous. We use this for an action which is in progress at a past time. We often combine it with the past simple to give the interrupted past. While I was jumping, my mother walked in and told me to get off the bed. So, I decided to get off the bed, but instead of walking off like a sensible person, I jumped off and I went completely out of control and I bashed my head on my mother's bedside table, giving me this scar. I was quite lucky because I could have taken out both of my eyes, and I have quite lovely eyes. Oh, excuse me. I have quite lovely. So, the moral of the story is always listen to your mother. Now I use the past simple to describe the main events of the story because the past simple is the most important tense and it's at the point that we want to focus on. Did you get it? Alright guys, Dan for BBC Learning English, signing off.
Goody, goody, goody. Oh, good, nice. Okay, so I think we can have a look at the story that he just mentioned, that Danny just mentioned. Okay, let's have a look. So here, is it true or false? Dan jumped on the bed once in the past and never again. He said, I used to jump on the bed. So that means that did he continue jumping on the bed like as a teenager or adult? People? Dan jumped on the bed once in the past and never again.
True.
Love jumping on the bed. He used to love jumping on the bed. That means it was a habit on the past. Jumped on the bed in the past and never again. Well, he doesn't do it anymore. So that's weird. Dan went upstairs after he had arrived. What happened first? Dan went upstairs or Dan arrived? What happened first? A or B? A or B, what happened first? Any idea?
A.
B.
Oh, we have, yes, he arrived. Look, we have, he went upstairs, past simple, went, and then we have after he had arrived. This is the past perfect, of course. Okay, and Danny said, and I said that the past perfect always goes first. Okay, he had arrived and then he went upstairs. Building is work, though. Okay, by dinner, okay, building work is tough. By dinner time, I was starving because I bricks around all day. What do you think? Building is a tough work. By dinner time, I was starving because, so we are talking about a previous past, and it focuses on the duration all day. What do you think? A, B, or C? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
B.
B had been carrying happy. Okay, let me tell you something. B is present perfect. Present perfect and all the present tenses or the future tenses, they do not participate in the narrative tense. They need to be past. So B is discarded. B doesn't work. So if B is erased, it doesn't work. Which other would you choose?
The C.
Absolutely. Past perfect. Past perfect continues because we have ing and we have had been. It's a previous event and focuses on the duration. Nice. And I home when I heard the news that the president was dead. When I heard the news that the president was dead. Here are focusing on the interrupted future, interrupted past. We have the interruption here when I heard the news. So
Letter A.
Letter A, yes, the context. I was driving. You know what? Yesterday I was driving when I heard the president, had that problem. So absolutely understandable. So that's correct. I was
But
driving.
teacher, it can be like B too, because I don't know, the person was like so in shock that they drove home.
They could be, but there is a subtle difference because here, look, I'm gonna help you out. This when is marked, usually when is connected to the past simple. So what when is doing is that, this is past simple, by the way, is saying there's an interruption, okay? When we see this, it means that there is an interruption of this event. So this event, we understand that this is the past continuous. Opposite, if you were correct, this when shouldn't exist and instead should be and or a comma. If we had an or a comma, we can have past simple and past simple because past simple is a sequence, right? And to connect a sequence, we usually use and or commas or so, right? So past simple and past simple is not possible in this case.
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, 3 or 4 because we mistake that one. Okay, no worries. So I'm gonna go back to my thing. Okay, I have very few minutes. I'm gonna be as fast as possible. I'm gonna go here. Okay, I'm gonna take a short story. Let's make a short story, please. This one. Short. Pakistan, China, bicycle. Experience. This one. Okay, this one is perfect. Okay, this is a spooky story. Everything is connected. This is a complete story. So what we have is, this happened about 10 years ago. I, with a college friend, Sarah, in the country. So building the context. Building the context. Set the context. What would you put? What would you put, people? I was staying, I stayed, I had stayed, I've been staying. remember, we are setting the context. Any idea? Any idea? Nope. Okay. So I go for what's saying. And remember, past simple, past continuous builds up the context. Okay. When we want to give the story some context so the people can understand it, we usually go for the past continuous. Okay. If we continue here now, they an old country house few miles from Cambridge. They recently bought, they have recently bought, they had recently bought, they had been buying. I would like to eliminate the number 2 because that's the present perfect, so it doesn't work. Which one would you go for? Okay, imagine the thing. This person is telling the story. Okay, this story happened. Okay, here in time. This is the past. So it's telling the story that they stayed in a house. Now it says here an old country house in Cambridge. This is a timeline, right? This is the event, the main event. Now the house, the family bought the house before the main event or afterwards? Anybody?
Before?
Yeah, absolutely. Before. So maybe they bought the house here, right? We don't know. We don't know when, but this is the past perfect. So we need to have past perfect. So which one is correct?
The third option.
Yeah, the third option. They had recently bought. Yes. They bought it recently, so maybe it's not that long, but it's before anyways. So maybe they bought the house maybe here, okay? Not that long ago, but it's before the main event. Now, and she
Invited?
invited me, yes, because we're talking about the same event, going to the house. She invited me down to see it. Anyways, it was dark, winter afternoon, and we in the sitting room. Again, context. It's building the context.
We're chatting.
Yeah, we were chatting because surely here she wants to tell some more things, so it needs to build the context. Sarah's mom, a little while earlier, so we were alone in the house. So they are alone here in the main event. And what about the mom? This is the main event. What about Sarah's mom? A little while earlier. Anyone?
Have been going shopping?
I like had been or had been going. Do we have focus on time, on duration, like long duration? I don't think so. Like maybe for 3 hours or for a long time, but we don't have that. So I know